10:05, and the current temperature is 54 degrees.
I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gasconade County. Cloudy, 49 degrees here at the White Mule this morning, and a little rain last night. According to an app I looked at, Owensville had about 5/10 of rain, or a half an inch. Kind of looked like it is about what we had here. Not a hard rain necessarily, but you know, a little rain, and more on the way, according to Sam and other weather forecasters. So you know, it's just starting to get dry here on the farm, although we tried to spread some fertilizer earlier this week, and you know, still a lot of wet places around in the fields, and we found almost all of those, one way or the other, with the truck, and so we had to pull out a few different times. But you know, it's all good. It's springtime in Missouri, and that is good, and the grass is getting greener, and you know, it's good news. We had a winter here that is, I don't know if it'll go in the record books, but it will go down for a lot of people as one of the coldest periods that we've had in recent memory. A lot of the younger generation has not seen or remembered to have that cold that long, and those of us that are a little older and have been around a little more, it's kind of like what we once had, and you know, back in the good old days, so to speak. We had you know, winters that was that away for even a lot longer period of time. So hey, it's good for you to be along here this morning on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching Facebook Live. We have a guest this morning for a little bit, and we're going to talk with her about her upcoming event here, a fundraiser for the skate park in Owensville. Kyla Walters is heading that initiative. We talked about it a little bit a month or so ago, but she has you know, particular information that she's going to share with us, and you know, get ready for that coming up this weekend, I do believe, and she's going to share that with us. But let me just say thank you, Kyla, for taking leadership. I know you and Miss Larimore was here a few weeks back, and you know, she talked about being the park and recreation manager at Owensville, and this is one of the things that was highlighted there. But you know, we need passion to continue to drive, you know, things for the youth to do, and we need passion to get, you know, things done in regard to the parks and recreation, because, you know, guess what? Things change. Yeah. Things do stay the same to some degree. We still enjoy baseball and football and a lot of those particular sports that kids are involved with, but you know, I was having a discussion with my neighbor girl last night, and you know, talked about how big a role, you know, soccer is playing now in you know, young kids, and that's all good. And skateboarding, one of your family and your son's passion, is you know, also an exercise that I doubt if I will take up, Kyla, but you know, who knows?
Yeah. You never know.
Good for you to be here and tell us about your event, and thank you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you for having me back. So yeah, we're about 3 years into this process. Last year, COVID kind of hit us pretty hard with the stopping of the fundraising just because of everything going on. So we're back at it and hitting it hard, trying to raise some more money and getting to a point to where we can at least get a first phase done, to where we can also start producing and looking for in-kind donations to get that first phase done. We're excited, and like you said, you know, not every kid plays ball sports, and not every family can afford to put their children in ball sports. So this is definitely something that a kid could get in, whether it's a skateboard, scooter, for Christmas or a birthday, and it will last them for a long time. So it's definitely not just for kids. I mean, there are people your age, Charlie, I've seen there riding rollerblades, getting with it. I'm not joking. My mom was like, whoa. So yeah, like, I mean, older people.
It's good the ambulance shed is pretty close, right? You know, I shouldn't say that, but you know,
Hey, you know.
I don't think I'll be getting on many rollerblades here,
Well,
you know.
they do say.
I have trouble driving the four-wheeler sometimes. I mean, you know, that has a motor on it, and you know.
Speaking of that, people always say, well, isn't it, you know, not safe? And it's no more not safe than playing a sport. I twist my ankle walking in the house. So more times than I've probably ever been injured playing a sport. So, you know, if they're smart and use, you know, it's just the way it is. But
Well, you know, one of the things about, you know, skateboarding is, you know, a lot of other things are team sport. And you
Yeah.
need a lot of people around, and you need, you know, a big place to do it. And it's kind of you know, an effort there, and those things are wonderful, team building and
sure.
those things. But you know, to be able to go out and take your skateboard, and it's kind of like riding a bicycle
Yeah.
to some degree. You're kind of you know, in control of when you do it and how you do it, and you can practice, you know, at your leisure, and you know. Those are good individual things to get kids up and going.
they are, because not all kids are, some are shy and quiet and kind of reserved and don't feel comfortable being a part of those team environments. But I will say, when we hit those skate parks, you wouldn't believe the kids that just come through, and they, you know, if one's working and trying to figure out how to do an ollie or this or that, they all kind of come together. I have been to several, and well, lots of them, and just the team aspect of that, I mean, they're so friendly. I mean, they're all very welcoming to one another. It's just a different kind of an atmosphere. I don't even know how to explain it. You know, some of these skate kids get a bad rap. You know, in years past, that's probably more true, but nowadays, kids just enjoy it, and it takes a lot of skill. It's not easy to do. So it's definitely neat watching these kids try and figure out how high they need to jump to flip it around, and you know, it just use different things.
Yeah, you know, that's you know, just watching a little bit, you know, on TV, some of the things and some of the competitions they have for that is quite extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question, and it takes a huge skill set. I'm going to apologize for my cough, you know, today here, folks. I just sometimes I think it's the pollen, Grace, or
Yeah.
something, you know.
It's
I
up
don't
and
think
down
I'm
weather.
infectious, but I got this nagging cough, and I apologize for it. And Gracie might have to take over if we get,
Okay.
you know.
I can talk for you. Yeah.
So
good at it.
you got an upcoming event here.
So we actually got two. So we have the bingo, that's this Saturday, and it's here at the White Mule starting at 7. So it's rock and roll bingo. A lot of people are like, well, what exactly is it? Well, it's not your typical bingo. It's not like they roll a ball and say B1. Sam from Arch Rival Entertainment, he has music downloaded in different categories, and what he'll do is he'll play a 20-second clip. And so it'll be totally different genres, different categories. And so some people are like, oh, well, I'm terrible with artists and the name of the song. So he allows you to download an app to your phone to cheat a little.
That might be cheating a lot, but it wouldn't be for me because I didn't know how to download the app, you know, so.
So it's kind of nice, but I mean, the little board looks like a bingo board, but it just has the name and the artist throughout the thing. And some of them are all name of the songs, some are all artists. But it goes back to the 50s all the way up to current events, and
All the way back to the 50s. Oh my God! You know.
oh well, you know.
You know, that's you know,
But it's fun.
it was a different world back then.
Yes,
you know,
it was, but-
and truly it was. But I happen to remember some of the 50s. You know.
But it's neat because you can kind of sing along, and you know, at typical bingo events, you get shooed for talking and having fun, and
Right.
all fun is welcome. So that's pretty exciting. So it is $25 per person. And after each game, there's a $50 winning. So whoever wins bingo can win up to $50. And of course, if there's more than one, we would split that. But so yeah, so there's a chance to do that, and we'll have a 50-50. And so yeah, it is a lot of fun.
And it'll be here in the fireplace room, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
At the White Mule. They can have a good time while they're here. They can eat and drink, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Or,
If they want to make reservations, and they can bring food to the tables, or if they want to eat before, however they want to do that, they can definitely do that.
So do whatever, but come and enjoy yourself. And, have you established exact goals here in regard to what you need on the park before you, start or continue with the project?
Yeah, so we know we need at least $100,000 to get the first phase started, and the rest of what we get, and of course, the more donations we get, as far as like, say we need an excavator, or say we need some steel tubing, concrete, dirt fill. A place for the workers to stay, all that comes off of the bill. So
there's payment in kind that can go to that,
yep,
correct?
Exactly, and that's what helps us get our payments down to what we're going to actually have to pay for this.
So you're applying for grants,
Yeah, we've been doing that. It's a little slow right now. We're a little over 25,000 for what we've raised. So yes, we have a ways to go, but it takes time. It does take time, and some people don't feel we need it, and that's okay. Not everybody is into that kind of thing.
And it's just how it is. But and you might look for the small business side of it. A lot of them have not had. Some have, but a lot of them have not had banner years.
Yeah.
So that takes a little while to get things going, but the bottom line of it is it's I think it will add a good resource to Owensville and to the park at Owensville, and they can come and skate and go swimming or play ball or do golfing, whatever the parents want to do while they are in town, and they can certainly shop too, and support our businesses. So anything that we can do to enhance the overall, I think is good for everybody.
Yeah, there is one in Washington, which is probably the closest to us, but that's still a 45-50 minute drive. And from there, Jeff City, which it's a little, it's not that it's untaken care of, but to me there's a lot of improvements need to be done.
Right.
And then from there, we drove all the way down south towards I guess it was like Park Hills area, Dardine Prairie, which has a ginormous one, and that was probably Aiden's favorite. But people travel. If you have kids, they like checking out all the different parks. So just think about the people coming into their town. And when you travel in the town, well, if you live far away, you stop and eat and that kind of thing. And so, there's a lot of good things that could bring about business for our community.
Is there any competition, in those particular situations?
They do competitions, and that's something we would eventually like to get into as well.
Right.
Offering skate lessons and different things like that. I see a big vision, and I've always said, how cool would it be once we get this up and going, doing like a scooter, skateboard, or bike drive for kids. For the kids that can't afford it, but yet this is something that they can do,
Sure.
So I have a long-term goal. It's not just for the kids to have something to do, but it is because, the city of Owensville has a no skateboarding or riding ordinance. So kids are not allowed to skateboard, ride, or do anything like that in Owensville. So where are the kids supposed to go? So it's not safe for them riding on the roads, especially nowadays because people don't pay attention. They're on their phones or this or that. These kids need a safe environment and a place, and they need a place to go. So.
Yeah, well, it's I'm sure you've did your homework here. I'm sure Saturday night will be well attended.
Yeah.
Looking kind of forward to seeing. Your idea in regard to the bingo, the music, is a great idea in all honesty, and I think I think it's a first for us here. I'm not sure if the community has had one of those.
Yeah, we actually did one in November here.
Oh. Okay, well, I was
You were sleeping that day.
I was taking a nap that afternoon or whatever, so or evening. So anyway, so it'll be here.
That's different. Yep, that's a different.
Okay, it'll be here.
This Saturday at 7 p.m.
Okay,
at the White Mule.
come
and they can call me or
me-
text me
okay,
at 573-680-9742.
and you'll be able to get pizza or wings or
Yeah.
steak, whatever they want, if you so desire, or I'm sure you can drink wine or have a beverage of your choosing.
Absolutely.
When you do, and then Egg My House is another thing that you're having.
Yeah, so what it is we are coming together as a committee, and we are going to actually get Easter eggs from a place out of St. Louis. And the proceeds actually, I should have had this looked up before that. Actually, the people who do it, they actually donate the proceeds to a disabilities organization up in St. Louis. So,
Okay.
Which is really, really super cool. So what it is you can get 25 eggs, 50 eggs, however many eggs you want. And on Saturday, I think it's Friday, April 2nd and Saturday, April 3rd, we will come and hide Easter eggs throughout your yard. And so the kids will be like, what? When you go outside. So it's kind of a fun idea. They'll be stuffed with little different things. And so we're really excited about that. We think it's going to be a great addition to it. But it's basically $1 an egg. So $25 for 25 eggs, $50 for 50 eggs.
And this will be where at your house?
No, at their house. So they'll call me and be like, hey, can you
okay.
my house? And
So I'm with you now.
so
Okay.
it's kind of like if they believe in the Easter Bunny or whatever, or just want to
You'll come and hide the eggs, and then we'll keep Gracie blindfolded and then let her go out with her Easter basket at home.
That's
and
exactly right.
hunt eggs up. I
That's
got it.
right. I was trying to look up
I got
exactly who the funds go to, which kind of makes me happy. I think it's great that they support the proceeds for that. And of course, I'm probably going to be too late on that.
Well, you've got a lot going on as always, Kyla, and belated happy birthday. As a matter of fact,
Oh, thanks.
I think you were 21. I know.
Yes, that's right.
The other
Yes,
week when you
21 and
celebrated your
counting.
birthday here, and that's all I'm concerned about, because you drink free at the White Mule on your 21st birthday and after.
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah, of course. yes.
So
And
but
after.
I mean, I'm not getting into that at all. So.
Yeah,
If you want more information, you can contact Kyla on either one of these at
573-680-9742. And you can also go on our Facebook page, Owensville Skate Park, and we have all of our information listed for that as well.
Awesome. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you, and good luck in your endeavors. And actually, you got other things going on, so I don't know that you want to be involved with the next portion of our show anyway.
You can save me that one.
So
thank you guys
good
for
to
having
have
me.
you always, and be safe.
Yes, thank you. See you later. Thank you.
Well, Grace.
So does that mean I get to go?
No, you don't get to go nowhere. I'm sorry to say, I've been, thinking about a few things for a period of time, and wanted to promote Kyla's, initiative here, but also just wanted to talk some politics and where we are, because it's a changing time, and it's things are happening all across the board, but I think it's time to maybe look where we are today in regards to the economy, the virus, our federal debt load, the stimulus package that has been put out there, and also where we are as as Republicans, which, of course, I think my audience knows that I am. But, we've got a lot of challenges, the way I view things ahead, and some things that I think we have to do. Probably, I appreciate the freedom of speech because I'm going to be able to say exactly, what I am thinking. But, such dramatic changes in the political landscape, such dramatic changes in the economy, and going to kind of take a viewpoint that, we're all going to have to work together, to get the jobs done that I think that, need to be, done because it's a big deal. It's our future. And I kind of been, Gracie, believe this or not, been reading a little bit at night, going back, to when this country started, and reading back in the federal papers, those that was written by Hamilton and a lot of our forefathers, that wrote the Federalist Papers and documented their vision of America before the Constitution was formed, when states still had basically rights. But, what they're saying in there, and, there's like 80 or so of these letters or essays, that was written by a lot of the forefathers. And, they have, I think, put their finger on an awful lot of things way back in 1770 that is applicable today. And, how we go forth and what the Constitution of the United States mean and what the vision of the U.S. is, and also maybe what to be careful of as we move forward in that particular process, not to give too much control to any one particular sector or whatever, and how it's important to have, the basis of a unity. And these were tumultuous times also, for those forefathers. They never wrote the Constitution without having a whole lot of debate and a whole lot of discussions and a whole lot of people being angry, if they didn't get their particular way. So some things just don't change. But, if we look at the coronavirus and where we are today, you have to think that while we maybe haven't totally turned the corner, we are at that curve in the road, and we're optimistic, that things are going to get much better as we look forward, a lot better than it was just a year ago when we had no idea what was ahead of us. But I think that things are going to turn around, and the economy, I do believe, is headed for a good time, if not a great time, also coming up. That said, there are some tremendous challenges that we have to look at. 27 trillion, approximately, Grace. $27 trillion is what our national debt is, give or take, a trillion. And what does that mean to most people? That really is hard to get your arms around. But, if we look at the $27 trillion that we are in debt for, when you look at your portfolio, Grace, you've got a home, what I'm saying, and you have value there. You have cars and vehicles and, ATVs, and, some land. What is your debt versus what your worth is? How much equity, do you have in regard to that? And while this is kind of mixing, to some degree, the wealth and who owns it, the government is everybody. 27 trillion is way, in my opinion, way too much debt. But there's somewhere collectively about $130 trillion worth of wealth, out there, in the U.S. and in the U.S. hands. So kind of putting, things in perspective to that degree, most of that wealth, not all of it, but a lot of that wealth is in private hands. But, there's a lot of wealth even in the government, with the land and, the what they own and, the things that they have, underneath their portfolio. There's a lot there. I mean, they own the print, so they can print the money, and that's one of the issues. They can print the money, whatever it needs to be. But, there's, when we look at the businesses that generate the economy, almost, the stock market is doing well. It was up this morning, some. It's been up. It's at near record highs. There's some ups and downs to it, but, that kind of shows that maybe, the economy to some degree is working. But, there's still questions there. I mean, our unemployment rate is around, 7%. So you think that's somewhat okay, or not okay. We need to provide absolutely more jobs. There's no question, but it's not as frightening as 13 or 14% was just a few months back. So that may be headed in the right. Those things are headed in the right direction. My concern is small businesses. Those are the most challenges. Have in the coronavirus has been basically on the backs of a lot of small businesses, and they haven't had the cash flow. That's the main thing that kills a small business. Is maybe not exactly what the value or what the worth of that business is, but the cash flow that they're minus to pay the bills and do whatever.
They depend on it.
They depend on it, and you can see that here now. You can see a week or two. You know what I'm saying? Closing the doors, what that cash flow means. Even though everything else might be status, you still got to make the payroll. You still got to pay the rent, the gas, and once you lose behind on that, it's concerning. But 50% of the jobs, Grace, 50% of the jobs are, come from small business, and 50% of our economy comes from a small business. So it's not just a little deal. It's a huge part of the equation that we're not talking about, and we're not, maybe doing enough or understanding enough what we need to do to help them. So we need to focus in on those particular things, Grace. We need to focus in on what we can do to keep small businesses alive, keep them going. And, my concern is kind of this, is that, we're passing a stimulus package that there's a lot in, $1.9 trillion, okay, in this bill coming up. So if we was at 27 trillion, we're going to be close to 30 trillion, of which is just debt. Is that needed? That question remains. Somewhere around 70% of the people are supporting the stimulus package. And when I talk to people, they know people. Everybody knows somebody, okay, that has been impacted, and or somebody that has been impacted by coronavirus, okay? Whether that is losing a loved one, what I'm saying, losing a family member, and or a business, and or a job, that people have been laid off or can't find work. Everybody knows somebody that they're personally connected to that has been impacted by the coronavirus. So when we think about that, we kind of see why that there's so much support, you know what I'm saying, for the bill as a whole. And people never get into the weeds of that bill. They don't understand, you know, where that all goes. They think, well, $1,400, you know, per person, you know, is, you know, we're going to get that out of it and whatever else.
They just see the money part of it.
Yeah, well,
Most people.
yeah, what's it in it for me, and I understand that, you know, but what's in it for everybody is a bigger question, and
Right.
you know, here's my concern about it is that, and I'll probably get criticized for this, but you know, the Republicans are far off a lot of this, you know what I'm saying, in this bill, some of the stuff that goes to businesses and whatever. But you know what? We have lacked leadership. Our party has lacked leadership in defining on this stimulus package what we need to do and what we're for and what we're not for. Because I don't know. Because have we, you know, lost, you know, our way here? Do we have a focus? Are we scared of, you know, going out there and saying, I'm going to put together, you know, a package here for the stimulus that we think is needed. Now, obviously, we got to think something is needed because just a few months back, we spent somewhere around $3 trillion, you know what I'm saying, on our watch, and then all of a sudden, everything, we can't support this, or I can't support 1.9 billion, but here's the question. How many billions dollars could we have saved if we would have showed leadership and tenacity in regard to articulating what our priorities were?
Oh, wow.
You know, what if we would have come up and said, okay, we're going to give, you know, $2,000 stimulus to everybody that made under $40,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Or anybody that was laid off. And, you know, what if we would have took that position? What if that would have been our solid position in the negotiation situation? What if we took a position here that said that we are going to, you know, help small businesses under, under 100 employees or whatever that has a certain XYZ financial component to it, you know, that is accountable, that can prove, in fact, that, you know, the stimulus is going to them, what their intentions are with it, how they're going to use those particular dollars in order to keep those doors open.
Yeah.
And what if we would have said there's 7% unemployment, we're going to make sure that the unemployment, okay, is extended, you know, for anybody that is in that, you know, 7 or 9% or whatever, and curtail this, you know, down, you know, to those, you know, to those levels. Instead, my concern is that we just say no, and we need to have a message. We need to articulate our positions. I don't think there's a Republican that I know of that are against, and if they are, stand up and say it. But that's against getting enough labor, getting enough transportation, getting the people to get these vaccinations in their arm, you know, and I don't know of anybody that is against those particular things, but, you know, we don't have anything that I'm aware of, you know what I'm saying, on paper that is provable that we are for this, you know, or that we're not for this, you know, either one. I don't think many people are against most of our schools that have been having, you know, school, you know, going that can make improvements, you know, to keep the environment safer, you know, in our schools, to have, you know, part of the money, making sure that there's tracking, you know, for instance, these kids that are distant learning and doing whatever, making sure that they have the mentoring and the tutoring and the help, you know, that they need to have to keep their education on par, and investing in the software, you know what I'm saying, that people, even though I don't know if they're out there or not, but at least having those particular discussions, where there is support and where there is not support. I absolutely do not support bailing out, state and local governments, that come into this thing owing $10 billion or whatever in pensions and benefits, that, have been short in their funds, due to whatever reason. But to bail those big cities out, bail those, Democratic or Republican or whoever cities out because of their mismanagement, but that's not an answer. You know what I'm saying? Some of these local counties, that provide utility, for fire and police and those particular things, have went through a tough time. You know what I'm saying? And keeping, their staff together, doing the things that they do. The fire department's been out in our neighborhood like 3 or 4 times, in the past couple of weeks. I seen them again yesterday. Even though that's volunteer, we've got to know that the labor is free, but it takes tax dollars. It takes something to keep the trucks going and the gas in those trucks, and the training in those particular things, that occurring. If the coffers are empty in them small local things, surely there's a way, what I'm saying, that we can politically at least talk about it. I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to get those things done. And I've always said that the hardest thing for government to do is deciding between the haves and the have-nots. That's basically how we got here today, is trying to make that decision on who has got and who does not have, and making that sound decision. But that's what leadership does. That's what we need to do. So I'm critical, Grace, of our lack of leadership, what I'm saying, taking on these challenges. And I know the talking points, and I totally agree with the fundamentals here, and it's way too much money. I don't want to be bailing schools out for 10 years, ahead. This needs to be targeted, but, do we even have a stand at this juncture? Because we never had, a bill there, before it. There's so much here, there's so much here, but we need to get to the roots of these things, and we need to have some real leadership in Congress that takes on these issues. The President of the United States, Trump did an awful lot of good things. You know what I'm saying? He did an awful lot of things in regard to immigration, in regard to the economy, in regard to China. But, on immigration and the economy, how long has it lasted? Another president comes in, and by the sign of one thing, has basically redid, all of these things that we stood for. And what the reason for that? Because we have not taken the leadership that we have to do to put teeth in the laws that we want on, whether it's immigration or the environment or the economy. We just kind of leave it up to the political winds and whoever happens to be there. Yeah. So how can we say, that, we don't have a stake in this, or, listen to all the fodder that you hear on a continual basis when we're not taking basic congressional responsibility for this. Don't tell me that you can't write and pass an immigration bill. I mean, maybe you can't, but you can sure take it away from the president, you know what I'm saying, and not allow those to have it all, you can tell, can't you, Grace, just how quickly that things can go to heck.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have solid things. And there is reason for executive orders. There's absolutely no question about it. But to have 40 of them, you know what I'm saying, ruling out so many things that we kind of thought was law. The pipeline, here the stroke of one pen, you know what I'm saying, from Joe Biden wiped out, the investment of that pipeline, and whose fault is that? I mean, you can blame Biden, and I do blame Biden, but our lawmakers surely are smart enough to write that when it's law, and the investment put into those particular things are going to stand. But you know what? Nobody wants to take responsibility for governing and the actual things. All we really want to do is be paid a lot of money as cronies or politicians or whatever, to say yay, no, and not get down to the point of governance and what that really means. Because there's no money to be made in governance. There's no fun to be had, in standing up to, the king and telling him that his pants is on fire. There's no fun in going against establishment. And believe me, I know it because I've been there and done that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not fun. It causes a lot of anxiety and angst, and you get people talking bad, even though you're trying to do a good job, but ask the right questions. I know the price that it comes, and everybody wants to gloss over these issues. And can we do that? Can we do that? And going back to the Federalist Papers, they were saying exactly these same kind of things, you know what I'm saying, that they were feared of, when too much power and too much corruption and too much money comes into one place, and we're not giving the people that we elect the responsibility and the opportunity to do what we tell them to do. I was up, I got upset, you know what I'm saying? The bottom line, when I hear our senators, you know what I'm saying, and Congress people, and, Liz Cheney, a lot of the Senate that voted, against Trump was sanctioned by the political party, and political parties are saying, the president of political parties are saying, we sent you there to do what we told you to do. This is what some of the party leadership says. I sent you there. Our party sent you there to do exactly what you want to do. I think that's a question that needs to be thought through. Are we really only there to do what a few people, I'm saying, in that party told them to do? Are we sending them there to make the decisions on behalf of those particular people that are elected by him, both Republicans, Democrats, independents, and anybody that support him and voted for him? That, to me, that is ridiculous, and if that's the kind of government, what I'm saying, people are asking for, that our leadership, on the state and county levels are asking for, guess what? That's what they deserve. Because, if they're going to draw the lines that tight and not allow good men and good people to have the conversation that it takes to have to make a governance decision, then, that's not the democracy, that's not the country, that I thought, yeah, there's a price to pay. I totally understand that. But, to have open warfare, against people, Ronald Reagan, our icon, said it is not good to talk bad against the Republican. And I guess I am, what I'm saying, kind of talking bad against their policies and what they're doing, because the lack of
changed a little bit since
well,
Ronald Reagan.
well,
yeah,
I don't think they have,
agree.
Grace. I mean, that's a good point, but I don't know that things have changed that much since we started. Okay, go ahead.
No, I agree with you 100%.
What? Well, who's talking about these things? You listen, to some news, and you're on that computer 724, and
That's
I
not
know,
what I look at. But
yeah, baloney, because everything that I don't know about politics, you usually tell me when I come into the office.
I try to stay out of that because I try to just learn from you.
Well, don't. I'm not telling you that I am, a good, So, I mean, golly, we just need to take stock, and we need to have leadership. Do you know that Senator Blunt is not running for office?
I heard that.
And say what you want to. I know the Blunt family. I had a fundraiser, for his son at your house. At our house here. I know the Blunts. I know what they represent. I don't agree with everything by no stretch of the imagination that they do. But there is a good reason, okay, why a lot of these conservative-minded people are not seeking to run for office, because they understand the bigger picture. Do I think that establishment needs to be shook up? You betcha I do, okay? But, the way to shake up an establishment is the truth and the facts, and get people that are seasoned, to stand up and take leadership, and say what the facts and the truth is, to allow all of this to go on to, all of these levels, on the internet, and, allow this to occur without any debate. Passing this bill, and I watch Fox News, I watch Newsmax, I watch, I watch way too much of all of that
I
stuff.
know.
I never heard nobody articulate what their position was, on the stimulus bill. You know what? And I feel like calling. I mean, we're blessed here. We are fortunate. That our business is okay. Or I think it is at this juncture. And we're going to be just fine. But when I go to Rosebud, when I go to Owensville, when I go to Herman, when I go to Washington, when I go to Sullivan, look at all of the restaurants, that have closed up under this particular situation. Look at the dramatic, shift that has occurred there by creating how many local jobs. And yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest, we're paying our waitresses, whatever, but it's real money. And it's real money that their customers give them to make a real difference in their lives and the community, and not to talk about them, not to have a discussion with our politicians in what in regard are we going to do for them, and just cover it and glass over it that $1.9 trillion is too much money to spend is ridiculous. Yeah. It is absolutely asinine, and that's not what I elected or voted for any of them to do. It's got to be brought out. It's got to be discussed. And you're just the person to do that, Grace.
I don't know about that.
Tell us what else is going on in the neck of the woods. Thank you for listening, folks. By the way, I'm kind of off on a tangent, but...
The Owensville Moose Lodge is having a catfish dinner Friday, March 12th from 5 until 7. It'll be dine-in or takeout, and that's at First Street in Owensville. The Owensville Moose Lodge is also having a barbecue Saturday, March 13th, starting at 11 a.m. They'll have chicken, pork steak, sausage, potato salad, slaw, and baked beans. Local deliveries will be available. Plates will be $9 and sandwiches will be $5. The Owensville Senior Center is having a fundraiser, curbside drive-up corned beef and cabbage dinner, Sunday, March 14th. They will start serving at 10:30 a.m., and that'll be carry-out only. It'll be $9 per plate.
Isn't it neat? Isn't it wonderful to see people getting back in, at least cooking, and
Yes, it is.
And the moose and the fish on Friday night. To see people getting back involved, with
Nice.
that. I went to Owensville the other night. We went to the funeral home, and the Catholics have drive-in only fish fry. There was people lined up for 2 blocks, at 4:30 in order to get fish. And
Good.
I was tickled to death. You know what I'm saying? I was happy as can be. You know, to see that the support, you know, is there, but also for us to be open and, you know, for the community to start opening back up.
Yes, that's nice. This Friday night at the White Mule, we will be serving steak, tilapia, shrimp, and beef kebabs from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, we will have the rock and roll bingo here starting at 7, and we will also be serving our steaks, pizza, wings, and hamburgers from 5 until 8:30. And then Ben Hampton will be here Friday night starting at 6. And then Sundays, all you can eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 till 3:30.
All righty. So, big weekend coming up. We've been fortunate to have big weekends and a lot of different events going on here, and we're fortunate for that. So, our time has come to an end here, Grace, but you know, thanks for listening to me. You know what I'm saying? You might be the only one. You know, you might be the only one listening and agreeing with me, and that's simply because you're.
I doubt that.
I don't know, but I welcome feedback. If people know me and listening, I'm not right about a lot of this stuff, but let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get out here and have some really, you know, discussions on where we go from here and what we're going to do and how we're going to go about doing it. It's a critical time.
It is.
You know, so you know, I know who can solve all of this, and I think he will.
I think you will too.
The good Lord willing, you know, he too will take care of this. Hey, thanks for listening to my rant and raving for the last 40 minutes, and be thankful that Kyler was here for 20 minutes of that, and you didn't have to listen to me. But there is a lot of here, and you know, all of these issues need to be discussed in depth, and putting facts and numbers together that show that. But it requires an effort on every one of our parts to get these jobs done and ask the tough questions wherever you're at. Please do this. Ask the tough questions, you know, to the people that represent you, where they're at and why they're doing what they're doing. We're going to be here next week, right?
Yep.
Unless, you know.
We'll be here next week.
We'll be here next week.
Don't forget to spring your clock forward this week.
Spring forward this week. Wow,
Yep.
It's time, isn't it?
It is.
God bless you, and we will be here next week, and we'll be here, and you know I got a lot more to say on this, but you know we'll be here. Thank you for being along today, and God bless you.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media.